I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
February 19th, 9:47 a.m., British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice Office. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side to the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of, normally. Except when I learned that we owed £3 for the room, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops! Sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance was so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I could not help my tears when we were presented with the bill. Oh, I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodgings straight away, though. If we are not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Oh, London is a scary place. Good morning to you at this early hour. Oh, yes, Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Susara-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe we had a very comprehensive initiation into the British courtroom practices. Oh, yeah, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've heard him in a praise of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it.
What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for?
Well, you had to be there to understand.
The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment.
Well, Lord Van Zakes, it's been a pleasure, so it is. As for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. I just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent.
Mr. Naruhodo,
It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended.
well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer.
Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart?
Magnus McGilded has passed away immediately following the trial.
No! What? Mr. McGilded is dead?
I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk.
Oh. Well, if you don't mind, we'd like to see the room around a little bit, maybe, if you don't mind. Just look at all the naughty books packed together on these shelves. They go from floor to ceiling. And they are all books that you could not hope to come by in Japan. It is like a dream. Yes, a very bad dream.
They are not all about British law either. There are books about the judicial systems of other Western nations. France, Germany, Spain, Holland.
What about Russia?
Why do you ask?
I was wondering about asking the Lord Chief Justice how you say wardrobe in Russian. What do you think?
I think perhaps it is a thought best abandoned.
Well, if you say so. Everyone's welcome to their opinion. Is this some kind of clock?
Actually, I think we might be inside some sort of giant clock. But those gears are larger than anything you would find on a steam locomotive, even.
It's eerie. Do you think clocks are some sort of hobby of his? The Lord Chief Justice, I mean.
Well, boys do enjoy fiddling around with machines, don't they?
I'm not sure you could fiddle with cogs that size, and I'm certain you couldn't call him a boy. So, it's amazing how little noise the cogs make, considering how large they are. There's actually something quite soothing about their precise rhythm. Okay. Look at all these menacing metal giants facing each other across the room.
I believe there are... Yes, there are suits of armor.
Oh, right. I thought maybe they were like the lion dogs we have in Japan guarding shrine gates, you know.
No, not at all. In fact, in Europe, suits of armor like these are always possessed by evil spirits, you know. And they roam around in the middle of the night.
Really? Is there nothing you don't know, Mrs. Sato?
This book tells me everything I need to know about everything. If you're ever unsure, just ask.
Where did she get that incredible tome? Large enough to contain all information, small enough to be fit into a sleeve. Sure, why not?
This must be the Lord Chief Justice's desk. I believe it is made of marble. It looks more like an over-the-top tombstone that's toppled over to me. I think that is your fanciful imagination at work again, Mr. Naruhodo. It feels like everything that's normally made of wood and paper at home is made of bricks and stone here. I know. That is why this place feels so overbearing, I am sure. Yeah. More armor, more cogs. More books. Alright. I'm sure one day we'll come here because we're investigating a crime, not just to talk to the Lord Chief Justice. Speaking of which, take a look at this. Lord Strongheart, may I show you this?
To accept this item, issue a receipt, examine it thoroughly, and make a formal statement of my findings. Would require something in the region of 24 seconds of my time.
Sorry?
Does the item warrant 24 seconds of my time, Mr. Naruhodo?
Let's leave it for now. I guess not. Alright then, let's get to the meat of it. 1 second. I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead?
After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus has been wheeled into the courtroom.
Yes, of course. That was the scene of the crime which Mr. McGilda had been accused of.
Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames.
No. How could such a thing have happened?
That is being investigated as we speak, but already the police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of Mr. McGilded.
That's awful!
The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere.
That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened?
That is also being investigated as we speak.
Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilda did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus.
Well, I must be making tracks now. Just on for the inspection.
Sorry, what inspection?
They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself.
An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage.
But then who was Mr. McGilda talking about?
Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police.
Poor Mr. McGilded. Okay.
So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court?
Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was wow, you know? Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It is really a world apart from our judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san is Such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones.
The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can.
Most advanced in the world, is it?
It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair.
Simple? That was simple?
As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose.
I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating, I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny?
No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I've prepared the new case for you that I mentioned before.
What's going on? What was he going to say before? Tell me about the new case. Could you perhaps give us some more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me. It's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes.
Don't worry, it's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different.
Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind?
That is to say, no one has died. As yet. And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise.
So the trial's tomorrow then? Is everything alright? Oh, yes, just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. McGilda's trial.
Ah yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense.
Oh.
If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome.
The most terrible end awaits the defendant.
Yes, that's right.
Oh, here we go again.
Your time is up. You will have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes and 39 seconds until the court sits.
Last time you mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time.
And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you.
Oh? What's that?
Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi?
But
I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds.
oh well, Cosmo always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest justice system in the world worked, so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh,
Another thing? Continue.
on the way here on the steamship, he said something to me.
There's something very important I have to do.
Something very important? And what exactly would that be?
He never had the chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he had ever made it to the Great Britain.
You're out of time. Well, thank you for enlightening... Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion.
Mr. Naruhodo, what's all this about? Mr. Asogi never mentioned anything of the sort to me.
I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details.
How long has he been there?
So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell.
There is something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what did you mean?
I wish I knew, but honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think?
Yes, you're right.
I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Okay. We gotta examine him. We gotta approach him. That's something we learned before. Could we trouble you, sir? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? Alright, what's going on here? Alright. What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get over English yet eating out your hand, you know.
What's the Sato-san told me it was foolproof?
I'm a busy man. A very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having the likes of you talking to.
Oh, I'm ever so sorry.
Can you imagine? Oh, can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying? Hey, haven't seen Gregson anyway, have ya? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. All because of some bumpkin he's in here or a country I've never heard of. Who I represent? That's my reputation on the York, guys. That is.
There's no need to rip us apart as well.
I don't believe we have been introduced.
This is Mr. Rinosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer.
Aye.
It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant,
Aye.
It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it?
It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How did she pull that off? So, Lord Stronghall has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard.
Gregson? Inspector Gregson?
What's the matter with Susato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her?
Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Mr. Sato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him. Very well, in fact. Very well. Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication? What's it called again? Rants magazine? That is right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Holmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Holmes? That's incredible.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time.
Mr. Holmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You have earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words.
That's his highest praise?
Well, Mr. Holmes is not particularly known for giving compliments, you see.
That he is not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now.
That's great, isn't it?
I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Now it isn't. There's nothing more sinister than a man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumours about me under their breath, I'm sure.
Rumors?
Are you quite sure?
He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. A fame's got into his head. Stuff like that.
Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you?
Like I said, they whisper. So I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. As sure as eggs is eggs.
Oh, that sounds very sure.
I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work.
Oh dear, perhaps a sudden rise to fame does change people.
Alright. Before we... Oh. Okay. We can't present himself. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before?
Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned, the art couldn't be simpler.
Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it could not be more complicated.
I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right.
A young woman was walking along the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in the hospital, unconscious.
That is despicable. What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind?
I suppose you would have finished whoever was off with a suicidal takedown, would you?
That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo.
Brace yourself, Renosuke. You've angered her now.
Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit.
Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question.
Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Whatever not.
Simple. A prosecutor that's been assigned to his trial tomorrow is Lord Baroque Van Zeeks.
No!
Sounds like you've heard of him then.
Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
The Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Barak Van Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday.
Mr. McGilder told us about him before the trial, didn't he?
Okay.
When Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he has been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned.
This Reaper of the Bailey nickname, I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it?
Well, if that is the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
And what of it?
Oh, well, I think that means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it is not impossible to save the defendant.
Nah, you really don't have a clue, do ya? What do you mean? What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGill had come a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can ya?
What? What are you saying?
Look, if Van Zeeks could get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles. He works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Are we really supposed to believe that?
Right, well, I've filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. We should carry out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place?
That's correct, ma'am. That's correct, mum. If you head over to the holding cells, you can meet a criminal himself.
You've branded him a criminal already?
He's as good as, shaking like a leaf in his cell he is. It'll give you a good chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way.
Inmate 53?
Thank you.
So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say.
Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? To tell the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it is too much for you, there is no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too.
But if the man they're arrested is innocent, you could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself, and I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try, so I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help?
Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I am your judicial assistant.
Thank you. So then, shall we?
Yes. Let us go.
February 19th, Briar Road. So, this is where it happened. Briar Road.
Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Look at that regulation metal helmet. It is unmistakable. The men of Scotland Yard are here. They are investigating as we speak.
That is their job, you know.
But Mr. Naruhodo, to see one with my own eyes. They are often depicted in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but I never dreamt I'd ever come this close to a real Bobby's helmet.
What? The helmet?
Hee, of course. I have to try on one day.
Well, I hope your heady dream comes true. I don't see Inspector Gregson anywhere. Shall we see if we can sneak past and investigate the scene of the stabbing?
Why should we sneak?
I don't want to upset one of those bobbies and be butted on the head by one of those metal helmets. My skull would crack in two, I'm sure.
Oh no, an English bobby would never do such a thing. This is a land of gentlemen, you know.
Well, either way, I don't want to risk it.
Oh, a British bicycle. Look. Although the wheel is so misshapen, I am sure it couldn't possibly be ridden anymore.
Someone must have been doing some breakneck cycling.
It seems bicycles have become extremely popular in London recently. There's even a movement to change women's dress to allow them to ride as well.
The bicycle fad won't last. I don't see why anyone would want to ride something like that.
Goodness, do you dislike bicycles?
No, not at all. I mean, it's not that I dislike them exactly. It's just that any occupation that involves taking both your feet off firm ground seems, well, reckless. If you'd ever tried walking on stilts and fall into a river, I know you'd agree with me.
We will have to hire a bicycle sometime. You can sit behind me while I ride you around.
I'll take you up on that offer.
That is a rather typical old brick building, isn't it? I'm sure it has a long and interesting history.
Well, time certainly seems to have taken its toll on the place. It's crooked and sagging all over. In fact, it looks in decidedly worse shape than the other houses around here.
We must find some cheap lodgings ourselves as soon as possible.
Yeah, you're right. Cheap, but ideally with reasonably level floors. Oh, look at the windows of that building there.
Are you sure there are windows?
Yes, but they're all filled in with bricks.
Oh, you're right. I wonder why. Perhaps it's an empty property where nobody lives at the moment.
There's smoke coming from the chimneys, though.
Oh dear, everything still feels very foreign. There's so much we have to learn about this place.
Yeah, get that right. What about the other houses? What about that? What's that? The clouds look so big and heavy in the sky, don't they? And with the dense fog as well, everything looks hazy.
Well, it is known as foggy London town.
I can just make out some sort of spire through the fog. It looks like it's still being built, though.
Aha, yes. That must be the Crystal Tower, being built for the great exhibition that is to open in 6 months' time. Apparently it's going to be very striking, glazed on all sides, and the symbolic centerpiece of the exhibition.
It's to be the largest exposition in history, is it? I can't even begin to imagine it. Oh. Do you see all the black smoke rising from the chimneys over there?
It says here that in Great Britain, many people heat their homes in winter using coal.
The only chimneys I really remember seeing in Japan were on top of the bathhouse. Do you think some of those houses could be on fire?
Not at all.
Well, even so.
That much thick smoke billowing up to the heavens is surely gonna turn the whole sky black sooner or later.
Gosh, you may be right about that.
Yeah. But, you know, we're talking years from now, so we'll worry about that later. There are piles of snow on the pavement here and there, but the road itself is covered in carriage tracks.
It seems carriages often travel down Briar Road. It soon disperses all the snow.
I slipped over when I was walking down the pavement earlier. It seems like it would be far safer to walk on the road instead.
Oh, but you're rather small, Mr. Naruhodo, and dressed in all black. I worry coachmen might not see you, and you could be flattened by horses.
Well, thank you for the rather small concern. Alright, I think that's it. I think so. Let's hope so. Let's move on to this side.
Oh, that is a Scotland Yard carriage. They use vehicles like that to rush to crime scenes and cart away criminals.
You're very well informed, aren't you?
It has long been a dream of mine to ride one of those through the streets of London.
Well, just pick up a stone and throw it through one of the windows then.
But that would mean being arrested in order to ride it, wouldn't it? Still, if it is the only way, help me find a good stone.
No, I wasn't serious. What the hell? There's a black tree there. Oh.
Hee, what a delightful snowman.
I didn't realize the English had a tradition of making snowmen as well. It looks a little creepy though.
Oh, it has a scarf. Look.
You'd need one if you were out in this freezing cold all the time. I wish I had one.
I am afraid our budget is somewhat frozen at the moment. 2. We certainly cannot afford a scarf.
Surely the snowman here wouldn't miss his.
But the person who made the snowman certainly would.
Yeah, I know, you're right. Anyway, even if I borrowed it, it wouldn't do much to warm my neck, would it? It's covered in snow. Okay. There's laundry there. There's more houses and stuff. Okay. That's one of the officers from Scotland Yard. The police are making sure the crime scene is undisturbed. I have a feeling that if we wander too close, we'll be clapped in irons.
I think perhaps you're being a little overcautious. We have done nothing wrong, so we have no cause for concern.
Oh, no, I'm not getting caught out again. Twice is enough. Twice I found myself in handcuffs, despite not knowing a thing about what was going on.
Yes, you've had some dreadful experiences. I'm sure it's that wide-eyed look of panic you're so prone to. It does you no favors at all.
Oh! This patch of pavement must be where the incident occurred.
Yes, it is a very wide open space, isn't it?
That's true. I can't see anywhere an attacker could have been hiding. Oi! What are you foreigners doing here?
Oh!
We conspiring with that mustache fella from Japan, are ya? Conspiring? Come here, dude. Come here to destroy evidence, have ya? Get out of here before I give you an hiding. Come on.
He shooed us away like rats.
Yeah, we should give him a wide berth, I think.
What a disappointing experience.
Seriously, we can't investigate? Because he thinks I'm conspiring with a mustached Japanese guy? Alright, well this has been a bust. We'll come back to that later. Let's go to prison now. See what's going on. Inmate 53. So these are British... So these are British prison cells. Oh, they're ghastly. It feels like a dungeon. Yeah, and having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our warden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, do not, Mr. Naruhodo. You're making it seem worse. Apparently, our client is in the cell here, but it's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like.
Inmate 53, your local representative is here to see you. So I in the back of the cell and show your face at once.
Am I? Am I a cat, as yet with no name? Calling me by number. It is utterly unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer.
Mr. Naruhodo, what? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Excuse me, but...
Shh! Quiet! They're all around, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening, even now. I can sense it.
Right, so, could I ask you who...
There you are! You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it, you're a ghost!
A ghost? We mean you no harm, prisoner son. Are you... Japanese, by any chance?
This is beyond my wildest dreams. Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all.
Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and here I am, in a frightful fix, in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here, in this damp, dark hellhole was a most momentarily moment.
Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Stronghart assigned us to would turn out to be a fellow Japanese?
Ah, what compassion my fellow countrymen show. To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Noble, nurturing, never failing, Nippon!
A first-class lawyer? Oh dear, I think there's been something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what's happened? Why you have been detained as a suspect, for example?
Yes, I can. I will. Shan't say, son! and silent!
I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy.
Yeah, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for your cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Rinosuke Naruhodo.
And I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mokutaba.
I am a visiting student sent here by our government, notably notoriously named Natsumi! Suseki Natsumi.
Okay. There you go.
Yes, yes! The symbol of one of our great empire's first-rate lawyers. Which means, of course, you'll stand by my side. You'll defend me.
Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you.
Then why else were you showing me that?
Oops. In hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. Never mind. So, Suseki Natsumi-san. What an unusual name.
Call me Suseki, please. I am a poet, you see. A writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume.
A nom de plume? You mean an alias?
That is right, Naruhodo-san.
No, no! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that.
And haiku? That really reminds me of home.
Did I hear you say that you are a visiting student sent over here by the government?
Yes, yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go and study English. First, I had to suffer that misery, and now this is beyond the pale.
Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here?
No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course.
Oh.
But just because the government tells you to do something, does it mean you can do it? No.
What do you mean?
If they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That's my field. But no, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly, unreasonable!
I see.
Only the other day I was told to send a report about my first year here. I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on white washi!
You must be a man of great standing.
Oh, yes. So I'm often told.
And I often like to be told, it seems. Okay, so.
Could you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Suseki-san?
I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder.
Murder?
Oh, no. No, it's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes.
Before your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker?
I didn't see anyone.
What?
If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here?
Oh dear, it seems this case is becoming rather complicated.
Why me? Why me? Why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? It's the curse of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient.
So Suseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker.
It is vital that we find out more about the case.
Alright, tell me more about the case.
It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings.
Sure, the bookshop wasn't cursed too?
As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a great green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold hard slabs of stone at my feet.
How terrible.
I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a ghastly, ghoulish, grim graveyard.
Slight exaggeration there, perhaps.
I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
That's not good.
They'll say it was shameful, I know, to run away like that.
Tell me, Suseki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours?
Don't be ridiculous! Do you think I know any of these fair-haired English? And a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people.
I see. A young woman unknown to Suseki-san. At the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you?
Regrettably, apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul.
No one? Oh, great. So the victim was unknown to you, and there was nobody else on the street at the time. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it? What conundrum? The conundrum. What do you mean, Susaru-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if what Suseki-san has just told us is true, there's something I cannot explain. He says that he didn't know the victim, and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen.
I did!
But if that's the case, surely this man has to be the culprit?
Ah! You! What did you just say?
Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little loudly. Actually, that is not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how did Suseki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry? He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he was there in the first place? Oh yeah, she's right.
It was him! That accursed great detective! He led the police to me! Of all the bad luck!
Accursed great detective? Could it be?
I shall never forget that man's name as long as I live! With his haughty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness! Brash, big-headed, bosom-heady, gone! Be gone! May you be cursed until the end of your days, Sherlock Holmes.
I knew it. Mr. Sholmes? Okay. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure.
It was the morning after the nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me. I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me, "This is the police! Put the weapon down!" Yes, it was a thin sliver, and yes, it was hard, but I wasn't eating a weapon. Disgusting! Dietary discrimination! Devils!
You clearly had a trying morning yesterday.
And there he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That Sherlock Holmes!
It's actually just Sherlock Holmes. He's English.
I've since found out that he's a famous name in detection here in London.
Yes, a great detective is really very well known.
And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I am the knife-wielding madman! Me! This weak, stooped kitten of a man.
I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. Do you mean to say that Mr. Sholmes' deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable.
Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in.
Of course you were. That is only natural.
I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Fiendish foreign flammery!
Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them from questioning you in English.
Good point, but my mind went blank. I knew I had to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, and I'm fine. The next thing I knew, I was in manacles, and before I knew it, I was thrown in here.
Oh dear. I'm afraid that is hardly surprising. I'm fine. He's not fine now, is he?
Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire!
Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo, and when we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough.
Oh, yes, alright, yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you? Well, why? Why is it so hard to say yes to me?
Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour.
A student?
I defended a case in the Old Bailey. Only the one, though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I'm confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo, son. I'm not even the foreign student who was supposed to be here. I'm a sort of locum lawyer, I suppose.
But that armband, that is the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire.
It is a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend.
A keepsake? I know exactly what they're saying about me.
Oh, who do you mean?
The lawyers. All the British defense lawyers. They won't defend me.
Goodness. Why do you say that?
For the same reason as you noted before. When it happened, there was There's only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I am not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit.
It must be very hard for you, Sasaki-san.
And anyway, I am a student from overseas. I am just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshot, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what's being said anyway.
That's awful.
They're wrong! I've studied more English than half of the policemen out there on the streets. I traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate with someone who can listen to me in my native tongue. You could do it, couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through.
Sasaki-san, it's just that... Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can, for the time being.
What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it will give us a much better chance, I am sure.
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you. I'll be here all alone, waiting for you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire.
We should be going then, Naruhodo-san. We have a case to prepare for. So that's it, huh? Alright, let's go back, see if there's anything we missed. Maybe the detective will be here. Oh, no. Oi, what's the Japanese delegation doing here? Oh, Inspector Gregson. This isn't on a tourist trial, as I'm fairly sure you're well aware. Yes, of course. We're here to investigate. So you've been to the Odin share, then? What did you make of a criminal? He is not a criminal as you put it, Inspector. He is a suspect. We'll see about that. You Japanese like to stick together, I suppose. Well, do what you will. Doesn't bother me. I'm glad you're in court tomorrow, whatever happens. And the verdict is a foregone conclusion. Stone cold air of rejection. Take heart. London at this time of year is full of stone cold air. That makes it worse somehow. Can we investigate now? Oh. Hey, you want to see my armband? Inspector Gregson, could I show you this? Am I supposed to know what this is? I've never seen that insignia before. It's worn by defense lawyers in the Empire of Japan. It's a symbol of their profession. In other words, it's a worthless trinket here in Great Britain. Oh no, it's very important to me. It shows my spirit. Yeah, an English gentleman keeps things like his spirit very much for himself. I'll have you know.
Oh.
Do not give up, Mr. Naruhodo.
It's too late. He's crushed my spirit already.
Never mind. Alright. Tell me about Scotland Yard, Inspector. Ever since I wrote about it in the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, I have been fascinated by the place.
Yard. Yard is the most sophisticated police organisation you'll find anywhere in the world, ma'am.
Oh, and you know I've always dreamt of wearing a real Bobby's helmet.
It does make them look the part, seeing that policeman there with his helmet on. You certainly get the sense that this is a man who will take no nonsense in his duty of protecting the city.
Oh yes, doesn't he look wonderful?
Being a London Bobby is hard going, I can tell you.
Oh really?
First thing in the morning, you know what he does? Goes round and raises all the labourers on his beat, so he can get off to work.
What? He wakes people up?
Yep, raps on their windows with a long pole. Did him yourself going back a bit?
I had no idea.
The Bobby works for the people of town. It's just another one of his duties. After that, he starts tirelessly patrolling the streets all day long. He has to cover 20 miles a day. That's regulation distance.
I can't really imagine how far that is, but it sounds like a long way.
Let me see. 20 miles, that's approximately the distance from Tokyo to Yokohama.
On foot? That's definitely taking things a step too far.
And when it gets dark, of course, he has the important job of lighting all gas street lamps.
Oh my.
And I suppose in between all those duties, Bobbies are expected to investigate cases as well.
And chase after criminals trying to evade the law.
I'm not sure you could call it in between exactly. More alongside, but yeah. They're expected to handle those jobs as well. We don't have men keeling over from time to time, I admit.
I'd always dreamt of wearing one of those helmets, as I said. But it is with a heavy heart that I shall have to relinquish that dream to you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Your heavy heart will be my heavy head if you do. Brilliant.
It happened around 5 in the evening, 2 days ago. Just there, on that open bit of pavement. Victim, a young woman, was stabbed with a blade from behind.
Is it right that the lady is still unconscious now? You mentioned that she's being treated in hospital.
I never said she was a lady. Truth is, unless she comes round pretty smartish, we won't be able to find out much about her at all.
I suppose that means they haven't been able to take a statement from her. Of course.
Here's a map of the local area I happen to have on me. You can take it if you want.
Really? Are you sure?
Yes, it's policy to give lawyers defending suspects the odd bit of information to go on.
I haven't actually accepted the job yet, but still.
Thank you, Inspector. We gratefully accept.
Okay.
Anyway, as far as we know, there's no national assailant other than a victim and your fellow countrymen. So who did it, do you think? Not much of a head scratcher, is it?
Well, I know Mr. Natsume is also claiming to not to have seen anyone else around, but
just because he didn't see anyone, it does not mean we can be sure that nobody else was present.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, but we most certainly can be sure.
How?
Because, Mum, precise moment of the stabbing didn't go unnoticed.
What?
We have 2 very reliable witnesses, no less.
Oh.
It was a typical foggy London day, and your client obviously didn't see him.
They were witnesses now? What's this about witnesses? Who are these witnesses, Inspector?
A fellow and his wife.
And the man's
And the man's one of the most reliable and respected citizens in all of London. He's a copper from Scotland Yard.
Oh. A policeman? That might change things.
And this policeman just happened to be there at the exact moment the woman was attacked.
Nothing peculiar about that, mum. Part and parcel of being a bobby. Catching them banging the act and all that.
Do you think it might be possible for us to ask that policeman a few questions?
Be my guest. You can ask him what you like. In court tomorrow.
Oh.
I've no doubt he'll be summoned as a witness. So that'll give you something to look forward to.
That's that then.
He's got no intention of letting us meet that man beforehand, it seems.
A policeman witnessed the incident. As your judicial assistant, I must warn you that this could make our job very difficult indeed.
Yeah, as a non-judicial assistant, I could have warned me of that too. Oh yes, one more thing, Inspector.
What?
The person who led you to the suspect.
I hear that was Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
What are you bringing up? What are you bringing him up for?
Was it something I said? The colors drained from his cheeks.
Who did you hear that name from?
Oh, well, it was Mr. Natsumi who mentioned it. He said that Mr. Sholmes was with the police when they entered his lodgings.
I am sure it was the result of one of Mr. Sholmes's inspirational great deductions.
Faro.
Oh,
Man's an amateur. I'm getting sick and tired of him showing his mug everywhere.
oh,
I don't know where he gets his information from, but he turns up at the scene of a crime, wandering around, spotting incomprehensible rubbish, and before you know it, he claims to have solved the case.
yes, he's quite astounding, isn't he?
He is a great help to Scotland Yard, though, isn't he?
Gibble gabble.
Boo!
Ever seen this before?
Oh, yes, that's Rand's magazine.
The wonderful publication in which the adventures of Sherlock Holmes appears.
Yeah, well, that wonderful publication, as you put it, sees fit to include several of the Yard's detectives in its stories. And the so-called great detective makes a mockery of all of us. If you ask anyone at the Yard, it's a misadventure to be included in any Sherlock Holmes tales at all.
Well, I suppose there is an element of that.
We work our socks off, every one of us, only to be framped by the public thanks to that obnoxious detective. Man's as dangerous to us at Scotland Yard as he is to all our criminals.
That cannot really be true, can it, Inspector? Clearly the great detective and the police have a complex relationship.
That twitchy Japanese blood goes on trial tomorrow. Are you going to defend him or not?
Well,
Makes no difference to me, but I'll just say this. No London lawyer worth his salt would touch that case with a barge pole.
because the prosecution is being handled by the Reaper of the Bailey, you mean?
There's no way to save the man now. It's a waste of time trying. It is all a bit strange, though.
Sorry?
A Reaper. He hasn't appeared in court once for a good few years now.
Yes, we did hear something to that effect.
And the only people he usually bothers with are real scum. The master criminals, the violent ones.
Master criminals?
The violent ones?
That's right. He handpicks his victims, only deals with those guaranteed to go to the gallows for their sins.
But Mr. Natsume wouldn't hang for what he's accused of, surely.
That's just my point, sunshine. Yeah, the young woman was stabbed, but I didn't kill her. Couldn't even say the intent was there. So this isn't a short case I'd be expecting a reaper to want to sink his teeth into, for want of a better phrase.
Well, it's not exactly a minor infraction, is it?
Nah, it's got to be more to it. Some reason he's taking an interest.
Really? What sort of reason, Inspector?
You think I could tell what's going on inside that head of that Lord of Darkness? You'll have to ask him yourself at tomorrow's trial.
Are we really gonna have to face the Reaper again? The Lord of Darkness, as he puts it? Well, I don't think we're gonna get any more useful information out of the detective. Mr. Naruhodo, can I make a suggestion? Oh, sure, what is it? Well, it seems to me that we must speak with him about this. By him, do you mean Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Exactly. Look at those shining eyes. You can't wait, can you? Well, Mr. Natsume did blame Mr. Sholmes for all this, didn't he? Yes, he did. He really did. Which makes him an involved party in the case. Are you just going to ignore that? I hope not. I assure you, it is not simply my selfish desire to meet with Mr. Sholmes again. The trouble is, we have no idea of the man's address even. It's Baker Street.
How do you know that?
It is in the stories, of course. 221B Baker Street, the most famous address in the world. Oh, I see. Well, there's nothing to stop us from going, I suppose. We better try to find our way there before Susato-san gets any more excited and unpredictable. Hurrah! I will summon a carriage. So we're gonna have to... So we're to have a reunion already. With the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Alright. Here, there you go. Thank you again for this.
Don't mention it. I had someone at the yard fish it out for me, but in the end I didn't need it.
Oh?
Well, the case could hardly be simpler, could it? I don't need a map to work out what happened. You can throw it away when you're done with it.
Ooh, cold. Okay, whatever that is. We can't present people in this game. And I still can't get access to the crime scene, so yeah. Let's go to 221B Baker Street.